Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? What were some of the signs or the things that were happening early on that might have or could be beneficial to somebody listening to be aware of or on the lookout for?
w- One of the biggest things was, like I said, when I first met him, he just talked about all of his stuff, right? His planes, his motorcycles, his houses, all of his money, all of his travels. So narcissists typically exaggerate or their worth, and they try to make themselves seem better than they actually are. So a lot of the he talked about a lot of things that and didn't really talk about himself as a person that much. It was always about his things. So trying to impress me with his money. He bought me really expensive gifts. Like, I'm not a jewelry person, but he bought me like 1 carat diamond earrings and necklaces, and we went on trips to Miami. So one of the things in the beginning they often do is try to lure you in with money or promises of something that they think that you might want, which is trips or gifts. Those are some things you can notice right in the beginning. Um, Most people don't do that. They talk, they want to get to more know you on a personal level. And another thing he did is probably within 3 or 4 weeks of me knowing him, he was starting to tell me that he loved me. He was calling and texting me all the time. He always wanted to know where I was, what I was doing, how I was doing. He was overly complimentary about literally everything in my life, right? Which most people don't do. Like, normal people don't try to rush into things. They don't, you give compliments in the beginning, but you don't compliment everything. You don't try to give extravagant gifts. You kind of go into things slowly. And he was just 100 miles an hour from, the first time I met him.
One of the things that you said that I think is really interesting that I want to go back to because I think it will help create some context and where, especially in where you were at the time emotionally, is you said that you thought, the thing that was the problem was you, right?
Mhm.
He has all these friends and everybody knows him and like all this. And that feels, and from my understanding, to be very common, a thing that a lot of people arrive at when being in narcissistic or abusive relationships. Like, I'll even tie it to my own experience of being a child. Like, I always thought to myself, the reason I'm in this abusive household, it must be me, right? This is
Right.
probably my fault. This must be because of how I behave or the way that I think or things of that nature. And so when you were in that, were there other people around you that were like, hey, you might want to second guess being in a relationship or around this guy? Were you just so deeply enmeshed in it at that point? Like, what was kind of going through your head where you think when you were thinking this, I guess is what I'm drilling down to.
Right. In the beginning, no. Everybody loved him. My family loved him, my friends loved him, my kids loved him. Everybody thought he was the best guy ever because all of the things that he did that were emotionally abusive were never in public. He never hit me. He never called me bad names in public. He never put me down in public. Nothing that happened in public. So nobody no like, one of my friends actually said to me, you need to let him take care of you, because I was trying to be very strong and independent. I had a child, I was a single mom, and somebody actually said to me, you need to let him take care of you. Men like to take care of their women, and you need to just kind of back down a little bit and let him do that. And that was kind of the starting point of me actually doing that, because it's not my nature, honestly. So nobody suspected, nobody knew a thing, and they probably wouldn't have if I wouldn't have started to tell them some of the things he was doing behind closed doors.